Hello, this is J Dunlap MTG, me playing XMage with the Lantern Control deck. So I just picked a random competitive modern game, and this is a pretty ideal hand. I've got 2 mill rocks, I've got the bridge, I've got a way to find the lantern, so I went ahead and kept it. So I'm just waiting on my opponent here. I play the Ghost Quarter rather than Glimmer Void because I don't want them to turn 1 do anything to my mill rock and destroy the Glimmer Void as a result. So I play the Hidden Stirrings, and I'm looking for something I can use. I've already got a bridge, so I went ahead and got the Pirate Spell Bomb. Then I play the second mill rock. Here I'm going to try and get some information about what deck they're playing. First card I see is a little bit confusing, but let's see what the second one is. Okay, so far the 3 cards I've seen are all standard cards. I'm a little bit confused as to why they're using the double check lands. Let's see what's in their hand. Inquisition says Siege Rhinos, Recursion, Tutoring, and a Jace. That's a little odd. So really, there's not many things I can pick here with mana cost 3 or less. I can Pithing Needle on Jace, so I go ahead and get the Recursion card. And then I Pithing Needle, thinking that I've Pithing Needled Jace. I actually typed in Pithing Needle, but I go ahead and mill them a little bit, and I find that they've got the Warden in their graveyard now, and that worries me a little bit, the recursion of Siege Rhinos. And then they play a Morph. I'm assuming what they just played is the Rattleclaw Mystic, but anyway, I go ahead and play Bridge, because I've got the Mox Opal. And I go ahead and do some milling to find out what else they're playing. And it's just more recursion. Basically, this is an infinite Siege Rhinos kind of deck, it seems. So I pass turn, and then I go ahead and I shoot him a message and I ask whether he's playing a standard deck, to which he says he's not sure. That was a few minutes ago. He said that he wasn't sure, but he's only been playing for a few weeks. Then I check my Pithing Needle because he cast Jace, and I realize I'm an idiot, and I typed Pithing Needle for Pithing Needle, but that's fine, because I have another Pithing Needle in hand. He attacks with his Morph because I've got 2 cards in hand. That Spellskite's not where I want to be, but I go ahead and play that Pithing Needle. I can play that Spell Bomb. Doesn't have to be used on Jace anymore, but I can hit that Morph just in case it's a Dim Protector. But we'll see what happens here. So very long pauses in this game, and I think it's because he doesn't know what deck I'm playing. And there's a Siege Rhino. And my turn. Let's hit that Morph just in case it's a Dim Protector. It was the Rattleclaw. Play that land, go ahead and get the Spellskite out of my hand. Might as well mill now to find out what else they've got going, because I don't have a Lantern yet. And there's Bring to Light. And there's another Siege Rhino. So my concern here becomes, how many times are they going to play Siege Rhino? I'm not killing the Siege Rhino, so they can't just have it come back. But maybe they've got a sack effect or something. So there's another Jace. I'm okay with them drawing that. I'm not okay with them them searching and having card recursion. But I do want that Ghoul Color spell. Then he asks me if I'm playing an artifact deck, which, I mean, yes, I am. So I tell him, yes, most of the deck is artifacts. Then he plays Macabre Waltz, which is not what I wanted. There's a fetch on top, there's the Morph, probably the Rattleclaw. I'm not sure why that's so important to him. So now I've got plenty of mill rocks. I just need to make sure he doesn't have recursion like that Green Warden he just played. Again, he's bringing things out of the graveyard. So I'm just kind of looking through, seeing what he's going to pick, and he's taken a long time to pick, but looks like I can respond now. I don't necessarily want to draw Ghost Quarter. Abrupt Decay is not going to do much for me at this point, because I've already hit Jace with a Needle. However, I can't stop him from casting Bring to Light, so Here comes Siege Rhino number 3. So there's the Warden, and it looks like he's planning on copying Siege Rhino, so go ahead and hit that, followed by another Warden. Duress will at least tell me what he's got going on. Turns out to be another Green Warden. The problem here is he's still got cards in his hand that he's playing. The Green Warden's going to put things in his hand again. I'm not quite sure at this point why he's cracking all these fetch lands, because the best opponents I've had have cracked in response to me hitting him with Millrock, but in this case he's not doing anything in response. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that Warden. I'm going to hit what I've got on top. I need to go ahead and find some more Millrocks. So I get the Codex Shredder. Actually had to pass up on a few good cards to get it, but that's just what happens. I'm happy with that Codex Shredder on top, but I'm more than willing to hit it if I have to in order to stop him from drawing yet another Siege Rhino or something that copies Siege Rhino, the Clever Impersonator. Here he is cracking his fetch lands again. There's Clever Impersonator. At this point I'm at 9 life, so I can't let him be casting Siege Rhinos left and right, but I do have some leeway. That's 3 Siege Rhinos away from death. I get my Millrock. There's a Lantern on top that I don't necessarily need, so Academy Ruins is actually what I really, really want to draw here, just in case things go bad. But again, I'd rather just keep him from getting something of value. I really don't have anything that will make this matchup better, just in case he decides to bring in some removal for my artifacts. I figure Welding Jar is a good place to be. And then a very, very long time later,
Your game
so waiting on
has
him
started.
to choose who goes first. Look at this opening hand. I realize I don't have any Millrocks or a Bridge or a Lantern. Now, many people would be tempted to keep this hand because it has an Ancient Stirrings that I can try and find something. It's got some Hand Disruption. It's got Surgical Extraction and a Mox Opal, which does not help me at all without artifacts. And so ultimately, if you don't have Lantern and you don't have Bridge, you need to go ahead and mill. So let's go down to 6. And unfortunately, 2 Millrocks, 2 Ancient Stirrings, but no Lantern. But in this next hand, I do end up with a Lantern and 2 ways to find Millrocks. Go ahead and scry away that Lantern, because it's not necessarily what I want to draw on turn 2. I'm going to go ahead and cast Ancient Stirrings on my first turn, try and find something applicable for establishing the lock. Unfortunately, what I find is quite painful, because in order to pick something of use, I have to pass on 3 other really good cards. And ultimately, I'm going to have to choose one of the 2 bridges, as opposed to a Millrock, because I'm dead without Bridge in this matchup. In fact, I'm almost dead in this matchup as long as he just casts enough Siege Rhinos. But if he's able to attack even one time, then I'm pretty much dead. So the Bridge is far more important. Unfortunately, I need to start digging for lands. And the next thing I draw is a Bridge. That's not necessarily what I wanted. Here, I could grab one of the Glimmer Voids. I don't need the Force because I've got a green source. Unfortunately, I don't want to grab the Glimmer Void just yet, because I don't want to play an artifact this turn. I want to see what he's got in his hand. So in this hand, we've got a Siege Rhino, we've got Recursion, but it's really Bring to Light that I'm worried about. I don't want him grabbing whatever it is that he wants. He goes ahead and plays a Morph. I'm assuming that's the Rattleclaw, so I get the Lantern out. It's time to get information. I've got a Millrock, so we're ready to go. And on top, I've got a Spell Bomb, so things are looking pretty good. I'm thinking next turn I get a Mana Source, I go ahead and play a Bridge. But let's see what he does. There's the Rhino, and I'll go ahead and mill that Green Warden in response. I really don't need that Spell Bomb as much as I need him not to get the Green Warden. I do like having the Academy Ruins on top. That's actually really good because I can cast Bridge and I can start recurring Spell Bomb in a little bit. So Bridge is out. He can't attack me with anything but the Morph. I go ahead and keep him off the Dim Protector. I'm okay with Surgical Extraction, especially with a Dim Protector and a Bring to Light and a Green Warden in the graveyard. So by this point I'm down to 11 life, and that's not that good. I thought seized earlier. I've taken some hits, and I really can't let him cast any more Siege Rhinos. I'm going to take my lumps here, go down to 9, but I am going to hit Green Warden with Surgical Extraction. And he's got 2 more in the library. That's really good that I can get rid of those. Go ahead and cast that Spell Bomb and wait and see what happens. There's really no need for me to hit that Morph creature, but I do need to make sure he does not draw the Clever Impersonator, because that would hurt. So I do get a Mox Opal off the top. That's good because I'm 1 mana source closer to recurring the Spell Bomb, but in the meantime I play the second bridge. I go ahead and do some milling, because I don't want him hitting that Clever Impersonator. I'm okay with him hitting the fetch. I really have no choice on that. Then I take a look at my graveyard. I do have the 2 Spell Bombs. I can choose one of those and start recurring it. And for some reason, he's, again, fetching without really responding to a stack, and that's not good for him. But I do have my 5th mana source, so I'm about to start recurring my Spell Bomb. He is almost Hellbent, and that's good. So there is another Mill Rock. I've got 2 Mill Rocks in place. I've got 5 mana sources. We're good to go. Cracks the fetch land. There's a Den Protector on top. I need to go ahead and hit that. And here we have some Graveyard Recursion. That hurts a little bit, because I'm hurting on life. And here comes the Siege Rhino crashing in. Don't want him getting that Macabre Waltz, though. So I go ahead and mill that away. I start recurring the Spell Bomb. At this point, it doesn't matter what I get on top unless it's a Mill Rock, and I'll mill it with my Ghoul Color spell. But after a minute of waiting for him to do something, he goes ahead and he has more Graveyard Recursion. And then he plays a Siege Rhino, and it takes me down to about 3 life. And that's a little bit painful, but fortunately, at this point he's Hellbent. So I've got 2 Mill Rocks in place. I'm digging through my library with Ghoul Color spell, trying to get another Mill Rock, but in the meantime I'm recurring Spell Bomb. And as long as I keep him from drawing anything relevant, then we're good. Then a very long pause of a minute, and then we continue. And that's something you're going to find when you play Lantern. People who don't know how to play against it just take a long time staring at cards, whether it's physical cards, or it's XMage, or it's MTGO. Just very long pauses where they don't know what to do, and here you see I'm just recurring Spell Bomb. I don't think at this point he realizes that he's already lost. And that's another thing that happens when you play against people who don't know the deck well. They think that they have some chance of drawing their way out of it, but they just don't realize that as long as you've got 2 to 3 Mill Rocks, the game's pretty much wrapped up. So I'm recurring the Spell Bomb. He can't draw anything useful, and I'm just kind of digging for a 3rd Mill Rock, and in the meantime I'm just going to keep hitting him with Spell Bomb. By this point the game's pretty much wrapped up. So there we go. That was a Converge deck that was basically recurring Siege Rhinos, Clever Impersonator, ways to get things out of the graveyard, ways to search for it. Might as well just call this 5-color Siege Rhino. Above all, in a matchup like that, you really need to mull aggressively so that you can get something that stops them from going, and preferably Bridge is what you want on your opening hand, but I really had to settle for Lantern, and that actually ended up working really well because I was able to start to control his draw a lot more in that game. He went Hellbent really quickly. The last game I had to really go aggressive on the mill strategy to win. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked this video, then subscribe because there will be more. See you later.